I am a widow with teenage and elementary school aged kids. How can I talk to my kids about me starting to date again?
Yeah, yeah, challenging situation. It's so tough figuring out how do I navigate my grief, the kids' grief, how do I, as I move through that and get ready to continue forward with life, and are in that place of thinking that maybe it's time to start considering a new relationship. Uh, I appreciate your recognition of how that affects everybody in the family, right? And I would encourage just candid conversations around the kitchen table, around the living room, that says, "Hey guys, I'm at a stage in my process where I'm thinking that I maybe want to be in a relationship again, maybe want to be married again someday, and I'm just curious what that's like for you to hear me say that. What's that like for you to think about mom maybe dating again, and the possibility of having someone else be a part of our family, maybe the possibility of them having children also that could be siblings. Just what's that like for you? And
I
allow
love the
space.
idea of just like putting the focus on them, on, hey, what is
Mm-hmm.
your experience? What are your feelings about this? I think that that's really neat.
Yeah, you don't have to control their response. Not for, you're not trying to, you don't have to pitch it to them, right? You don't want to try to be salesy on it, but you also don't want to be bashful about it. It's a totally legitimate thing for you to want a partner in life and in parenting, and a totally legitimate thing for for your heart to desire that, and for God to provide that to you, for you and that person to be able to have someone to share life together with, and all the things that are a part of that. And so it's not something that you need to feel guilty or ashamed about or bashful about desiring, um, and nor is it something that you need to try to convince them to feel a particular way about it, but instead just creating an open dialogue where you can answer questions about why you would want to do that, right? Because they're adolescents, they've never been married, they're not thinking about marriage, they're not thinking about things through an adult lens, they're just thinking about it through the lens of their own experience. So everything in life becomes a teaching opportunity with kids. Now you have the chance to be able to use this season of your life to be able to talk with them about what marriage is about, and why having a spouse is such a valuable thing, and how God designed us to long for partnership and to not be alone in doing life, and that someday they'll experience that same longing themselves, that's something that they'll want for themselves, and it's a good thing, and it's a valuable thing, and it's a God designed thing, and that your heart feels that longing, and that it's not a longing to replace their dad, but instead to have someone else to share life with now that their dad is no longer available to do that or be a part of life. So it can educate them about how you experience life, can help them get into your shoes, educate them about marriage and life, and give them permission to have their own mixed feelings about it. That it's okay to not like that idea. It's okay for that to bump into grief for you. It's okay for that to be scary and the unknowns of what will they be like? Will they like me? Will it take your attention away from me? Or all the different fears that are a part of that for a kid.
I was going to ask, off of that exact idea, of course, we hope that in a conversation approached in this way, the kids won't respond like this. But what if the kids, respond not liking that idea, or just feeling kind of attacked by it, or, like you said, like feeling like some grief was just hit? How could a mom react to that?
Yeah, in fact, I would suggest that should be expected, that would be the norm rather than the exception. then that's not a bad thing. Right? It doesn't mean that you're approaching it wrong. It doesn't mean that it's wrong or a bad idea for you to be dating and pursuing. Uh, there isn't there really isn't a way that you can approach this that isn't going to trigger grief for them and fear and angst for them. And so instead of trying to figure out how do I approach this to keep that from happening, instead you're probably better just to accept that that's going to happen. It'd be surprising if it didn't happen. And even if it didn't happen initially, somewhere along the line in the process of it, it's going to happen, because this transition for them brings its own grief and a reminder of loss and grief that's a part of their life. And so it's just another part of the journey of moving through grief. And so be prepared for that within yourself and go, this will likely trigger some grief, which can come out as sadness. It can come out as anger. It can come out as just a kind of rebellious shutdown. Uh, all sorts of fear can get projected into it about what that means, about you forgetting about or not caring about the parent, or not forgetting about or not caring about us. I mean, there's all sorts of fear that can get projected onto a parent that's making this transition into this stage of life. So just normalize it for yourself and for the kids, and be like, it's okay. It's okay to not like this. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to be angry. And it's whatever it is that you feel is okay. That there's space for that. I can contain that. I'm not going to be offended by it. I'm not going to take it personally. I know it's not about me. I know it's about the hurt and the hardness of this situation that you're in that you didn't ask for and are having to go through. And your ability as a parent to just be a safe place for your kiddo to even help them put words around their anger, help them put words around their sadness, being there to help them process through the grief that it triggers is what they need from you in order to be able to come to a place of acceptance and be able to move forward.